And you've got two. And it's I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Yeah, anyone, some people know that song? It's quite a powerful song. Actually, though, I'd like us to think about. Did you like the title? Today's title. Excellent. Who's that? Who? Oh, right, yeah, Tim's back. Because actually, for lots of people, not only have they not found a team, a real team to work in, work for, or work with, but they wouldn't even know what a team was. Now, I know you're probably much brighter than most people. That's what most people are. Because it's a funny old thing. There seems to be a problem with the choice of words. And the problem with the words is that when people say the word team, more often than not, they mean the word group. Do you understand the difference? A group of people doing something is not the same as a team. So I'm sure a lot of you have experienced doing things with groups of other people, yeah? So, I like, before going any further, has anyone had some really good experiences of working in a team rather than a group? Yeah? Yeah, what was that team doing?
Playing basketball.
Basketball, right, okay, cool. And what's your name? Dimitra, what a lovely name. Basketball, Dimitri started in basketball. Anyone else got any times when they've been in a team that really feels like a team rather than a group? I will ask you to say what it is. I want to know, has anyone ever experienced the feeling of being in a team other than on a sports field? Yeah.
I did youth fellowship.
Yeah.
That felt proper teamwork.
Excellent. What's your name?
Karen.
Do you know what? I ask people's names as if I've got any chance at all of remembering. But one day, man of faith, one day I'll remember that. Okay, Harry, yeah, Duke of Edinburgh. Anyone know what Duke of Edinburgh is? How many people do? Yeah, most people know what Duke of Edinburgh is. Yeah, excellent. Duke of Edinburgh sports field. Anyone else got experience of working in a team? Yeah. Being in a play. Excellent. Robbie. Oh, Christmas. I need that chocolate. I deserve that chocolate. I remember one name. Previous week. Thanks, Robbie. Being in a play, Duke of Edinburgh, being on a sports field. Anyone else got any experience of being a team? Yeah. Doing what, Sarah? Cheerleader. Yes, that will get that.
No, charity.
Working in a charity. Thank you. Sorry, it's not you. Can I just say, it's not just my looks that faded. My hearing has gone, mental faculties, but thanks on the boss. Okay, yeah. Working in a charity. Anyone else? That's it. And it's not to pick on anyone. It's just, I love the idea of this whole module being realistic. So it's not realistic. If I say, right, I want you all to work in teams, and deep down you think, I've never worked in a team before, I've worked in a group, so I really don't know what you're going on about. Do you understand why this is very, very important? So before, and there'll be a lot of stuff in the seminars when we're doing practical stuff, but I'd like us to be honest enough to say most of us have not experienced being in a team properly. So, if you like, in some ways, I haven't found what I'm looking for. Could be viewed as I haven't yet found the team. Some of you have found a team, some of you have not yet found a team. But I want to tell you a story. I'll tell you a story about a young lad. It's me, and I'm in the wood with my grandfather. He comes from Scotland. Anyone here from Scotland? No. Right, okay. So I can tell you anything about Scotland and get away with it. I love it. So I'm going with my grandfather, and he's really good. He does wood cutting, and he's going to make me a bow and arrow. Fantastic. And he says, right, Bill, come with me, and what we're doing is we're going to look for a willow tree. So I'm going through the woods, and after a while, I notice he's doing this, so I'm doing this, and the fact hits me, I don't know what a willow tree looks like. But I don't want to upset him, so I'm still going through there, and I'm looking, and eventually, because it's really boring looking for something when you really don't know what it is, you know, the novelty wears off. So eventually I say to him, actually, Pops, what's a willow tree look like? And he goes, well, it's big and it's tall and it's got these sort of leaves. And so I thought, oh, good. And I'm walking along, and actually, I still don't know. I don't know if it's bigger than that tree, this tree. I still don't know, because I need to see it. Do you understand that there is some things in life that it doesn't matter what the person at the front is telling you. And that's why some of these things, it will be just awesome, and this is the target, that in doing this teamwork on this module, you have a chance to start to experience what a team really is. Does that sound possibly useful? And the reason why I say possibly useful is because actually it's quite hard, and I tried last night, and as you get to know me, you know I'm a bear with a very little brain. I really tried hard to think of any job that didn't at some aspect involve being in a team. And it was actually quite difficult. I even thought, dictators probably need a team of people. You understand, it's very difficult, and yet it's so fundamental. One of the things I do is I actually help people like you apply for jobs. And one of the things they say, they do all the research, they look on the site, and it will say, we're looking for team players. And so the keen students, and I know I can see we've got keen students here, and they write, I am a team player because I was in the fill in the blank. Could be football team, could be drama club, could be anything. And then so I turned to this chap, and then he was applying for KPMG super duper job, 60 grand student. And I said, okay, I said, what's the team player? Is that a fair question? The people who are looking for jobs want team players, and so I asked him, what's the team player? He didn't know. He had a first. He had a first from a very important, significant university. That lots of big firms were queuing up to interview him, but he didn't know what a team player was. Now, I hope, with the seminar stuff that we do, my hope is that by the end of this module, a lot of you will be able to answer that question. But not just the theory, because you'll have actually done the work of what it's like to become a team player. Reasonable target? Okay. So, now, next question. A lot of you are thinking about, or how many people here have already know who's in their team this morning? Bang. Okay, so it's like this. First question, how do you pick the team you want to join? Now, and again, forgive me, I'm so much older than you that I'm probably just too far away to understand. But in the past, it goes like this. I want to pick a team that's going to win. Fair comment? Is that fair? I want to pick a team that's going to help me get a first. Is that fair? I'm not knocking it, I'm just saying that there are some other people. I'm picking a team where I think I'm going to be comfortable. Yeah? Some. I'm picking a team where I can be the team leader. Again, I don't want people to nod at this point. That would be, let's maintain a level of. But do you understand these sort of the ways in which people pick the team? Now, I'm not saying any of those are wrong. I'm just saying that those are. If that is the set of, if you like, attitudes and reasons that are going through your mind on how you pick a team, maybe you want to review them. I'm not bullying you, but I'm saying maybe you want to review them, or at least add a couple of reasons. Now, how many people know this advert? Has anyone seen this advert? Now, I could try and see if we could get the video going, but do you reckon we could get a video going?
Do you want sound as well?
No, we'll leave it like this then. But basically, this is, for those that don't know, this guy here I want you to know very importantly, he is not a clown out of Chipperfield Circus. He is actually an England footballer called Peter Crouch. Now you notice. And this is a pub football team. And the whole series of adverts, you can see them on Virgin, if you look on YouTube, Virgin adverts, it's the whole dynamic of Peter Crouch not realising what the team was like. And so he ends up in a pub team. And, you know, I think a lot of students, they come up after we do the setting the teams, and they come up and they say, oh, Stuart, I'm in the wrong team. Oh, the team's really awful. You know, I never knew it was going to be like this. I don't like the people. I don't get on with the people. They're not very bright. They're not very hard-working. Now, I'm sure none of you have ever thought about that in terms of other people in your team. But this is the sort of thing that comes across. And that's all well and good. And it is. It's good to praise things. But no one seems to understand what is it that the team want from me. Do you understand the other side of the coin? If you like, all these adverts are all about Peter Crouch. It's not about the team. And that's the trouble, that if we go into a team and our whole attitude is, shall we say, is this good for me in terms of results, I think we're shaking ground. Because what happens is you sit in a group and you think, oh look, they're lucky, they've got him. Or they're really lucky, they've got her. And that just is a flaw. It's a very deep flaw. So if you like, within teams, anyone ever played FIFA? I'm assuming that. Has anyone wasted most of their life playing FIFA? You know, I've got teenage children now, I can say that with passion. And for those that don't know, you build yourself up a team, and as you get the people, and you get whether they're good, bad, or whatever. But you see, what FIFA's got going for it that you guys won't have going for it in your teams is, I don't know if you can. No, you can see it in this slide. Can you see that at the back? I'm not sure. But over here, it's actually got left midfield, centre midfield. These are all blank. Striker. But the point is that what makes FIFA work is you are helped to understand what it is you need in a team to make the team work. Do you understand? That if there wasn't this, and you just picked random players, and you played against someone who did do this, again, it's a technical term, but you would be stuffed. Is that a technical football term? Stuffed outside? So what I want you to realise is that we really need to start to understand what it is that a team needs, as well as what it is that I need from the team. Is that clear? Maybe? It's like this. There's a horrible, and I do hate these horrible, what should I say, pop posters. And there's one that says, there is no I in team. Have you heard that? You see in this picture, it says there's no I in team. But, well, the fact is, yes, that's all well and good. But actually, it doesn't really get to the core. How can we stop, or at least, how can I encourage people going into a team not to be selfish? That's a biggie, isn't it? Would you agree that's a big call? I mean, it's one thing for me to list a set of attitudes and attributes in a team, but how can I encourage you guys not to be selfish in how you enter into a team? And the way I want to do this is I want you to aim high. Well, we said that last week, but I want you to aim higher than the average student out there. I want you to think that what we're doing in here is different than they're doing out there. Now, I do want you to get firsts or 2 1s or whatever you're aiming for. It's not instead. But I want you to be aiming for something that those people are not aiming for. Just consider this. If we know that company after company, and can I just say, start-up venture after start-up venture, in case you think I'm just playing the company card, need team players. So on top of whether you get a first, whether you're graded, on top of whether your business group is very successful and makes money, I want you to be people that look back onto this module and say, it was this module where I learned what makes a team and what I need to do to be part of a team. So that when someone in your future stands up at the front and says, how many of you have been in a team, we will still say basketball, we will still say Duke of Edinburgh, and we still say charity, and we will still say in a play. But on top of that, you say, you know what, I was on this module. And you know what, on that module, it was scary, it was white knuckle, but I learned an awful lot on how to be a team player. That is my hope for you guys. So, it's like this. I look at you, and apart from the fact you are generally all younger, generally more attractive, got lots more options in life than me, it is impossible at this point for me to know which of you is and is not a team player. But there's one thing I do know, and I get this, I can, because I'm a reasonably sort of intuitive sort of guy. I can spot the people who don't give a damn. Do you see what I mean? That's actually the things that's going on. Now, I want to encourage you that I would say 95% of the people in this room do give a damn and do want to be team players. And I'll tell you why. It's because there's something wonderful about being in a team. Those that said they've been in a team, isn't there something wonderful about being in a team? There's something that it's not just getting the work done. I am an average footballer at best. Okay, I lied. I am slightly less than average footballer at best. But I phoned a friend in Canada who was much, much better than I was, and he played in lots of teams, but he emigrated, and I phoned him up and I said, you know, I still remember the times we played football, and he said, Phil, the time you and I played, and he was a centre-back, so we played next to each other, he said, the times that we played were the best football times of my life. Now, it was nowhere near the best team that he'd ever played in. But there is something special about being in a team. And I want you, I want you to not go through life without experiencing the idea of being in a team. And just one aspect of being in the team that you don't experience elsewhere is somebody else covering your back. Those that have been on a team, do you know what I mean by that? We all stuff up. If you're in a group, talk to the hand. If you're in a team, people say, I'm defending him. I'm defending her. And I want you to experience that. And so that's why teamwork's important to me. Other thing I would say, just so set realistic expectations, if I was teaching teamwork in a business context, I would expect it to be a week. So obviously we can't do that. So what I've had to do is I've had to try and pick out the things that are going to be most valuable to you. Now you can choose what you want to do with them, but that's what I've done. So here we go. Most people come across Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Yeah, and do we agree with that? Generally, those are done. It's a fair concept. If you don't get the bottom bits, you don't get the top bits. Now, what I want to say is that actually there is teams' needs. In the same way, there are needs that teams have, and if you don't get the bottom bit right, you don't get the top bit right. It all, if you like, it all falls apart. And the bottom one. And now, again, maybe, again, forgive it for me to be so stroppy, but maybe you want to write just these words down that we're going to put in these sections. The first and the most important thing, the building block, and if you don't have this, you don't have a team. Right, first point, trust. If you don't trust them, you're not in a team. It's like this. If you don't trust people, it falls apart more than you can imagine. If you don't trust people, do you know what? You don't ask for help. Because if I don't trust you, if I ask for help, you're going to go and tell your friends, oh, Phil was really stupid. He didn't know how to do blah, blah, blah. Do you understand how that, if you don't trust people? If you don't trust people, you're not prepared to say, actually, I'm going to take on something in this project and I might fail. Because you don't trust them, you don't trust their motives. Trust is fundamental to a team. And I love the idea that you guys are going to try and learn while you do this stuff on these teams. You're going to learn how to trust one another. So, the other thing is, if you trust someone, you ask things like, how do you think I'm doing? You ask for people to speak about how you're doing. If you don't trust them, there's no way. Is that fair? If you don't trust someone, you don't say, how do you think I'm doing? Because you think they might do a character assassination, they might fill you things that are not true. So it's got to be trust. So when we're doing, and when we do the seminar, how many people are doing the seminar straight after? Okay. When we do the seminar, what we'll be doing is we will do an exercise in order to start building trust in the team. Because although, if you like this is where I want you to start thinking through whether you want to be going down the stuff I'm talking about. But in the seminar is where I want you to start doing stuff that's going to make it happen. So that's what we're going to do in the seminar. So we're going to work on trust. So the next layer up, if we trust, the next one that holds us back is conflict. I want to be in a team, but I really don't want people not to like me. I want to be in a team, but I want it to be a really nice experience for everyone. Do you understand what I mean? I just want it to go smoothly, and if it gets difficult, like, people disagree, like I want to do this business plan, and somebody else wants to do that business plan, and it's difficult, and I don't want conflict. No team. But you see that for a team to be a team, you've got to be able to actually know how to deal with conflict. It's like this. So, for instance, if the first night you did play drama, did you? If the first night goes badly, and Rob's sitting there and thinking, you know what, we were just too wooden. We didn't really live it. And then another person's thinking, what went badly was actually our stage movement, because it didn't time with what we were trying to say. Now, if Rob starts saying, I think we're too wooden, and I think, I don't want conflict. I don't want, Rob said it first, so I'll just stay in a corner and we'll do what he says. Can you see how that holds back a team? It's almost like the first person that says, and the other thing that comes from this is a horrible thing. And a horrible thing is called groupthink. Anyone heard of the expression groupthink? Okay, groupthink was like this. A long time ago, the world nearly had a nuclear war. And it was a very simple nuclear war. It went like this. There was President Kennedy and his advisors in a room. And in Cuba, just south of America, they put Russian missiles in. And they were that close to pressing the button to send in the nukes. And what happened was, they said, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to send all these American troops to a place called the Bay of Pigs, and we're going to go and disable all these rockets. Everyone in the room thought it was a rubbish idea. Why do you think they went ahead and did it then? Anyone? Let's talk to your name. Luke, good call. Actually, the president was a rabbit in headlights, but it could have been that. That's a great answer. It wasn't. Anyone else got an idea why they went ahead and did it?
The idea they had?
Sort of, yes, no, sort of wrong. No, it was like, well, I look in the room, I think it's a stupid idea, but the Chief of Staff hasn't said anything, and the Secretary of State hasn't said anything, and they haven't said it. They haven't. So look round and think, with a group this big, it must be me. I must be the nutter that thinks it's stupid. And can you see, in a team it will be the same. You'll have 5 or 6, and the team will be going off, and there'll be an energy about, you know what, we're going to produce these cases that will go on to iPhones, and the group says, the team says, oh, this is great, and they think, well, I think it's stupid. But unless you can manage conflict, you won't be able to say, hey, this is a rubbish idea, in my opinion. Do you see how, unless we deal with that, as your groups, you're going to struggle to get the best business idea out. So conflict, we're going to need to be able to overcome conflict. Third level, commitment. It's like you can have these wonderful team meetings. Everybody trusts each other. You get through, you get some really good discussions, disagreements, and at the end you still really, really like each other. And then it goes like this. Okay, it was a great meeting. Great meeting. Sue, you were awesome. I really like the way you did that. And John, the way you did that. Yeah, and Farrell, I love the way you did this. Right, so who's gonna write this up? Oh, not me, I'm busy. I'm going out to the pub tonight. Oh, not me. Actually, no, not me. Can you see that what happens in a if there's no commitment, no one's committed to doing anything. It's like a lovely experience to have, but no one's committed to see it through. And again, one of the reasons why we want to encourage you about this team aspect of this module is that we talked about the fact that entrepreneurs have to work it through and never give up. Yeah, if you don't do a commitment in a team, trust me, when you come to your startup venture, you won't be committed to that. Because the funny thing about lack of commitment is it tells us so much about ourselves. Now, we're not going to go there, but so commitment. And then, oh yes. Now this is why I want you to think about these things in order that you'll start to understand where a team is. The next one, and this changes, if you like, it is the game changer. It is a real game changer. Accountability. Teams where people take responsibility. Now, forgive me, those that don't do football, I do football, so a lot of the illustration. Accountability is like this. My captain says to me, Phil, I want you to mark the wide winger. Tricky player. And I think, oh, yeah, I'll do that. And actually, just for a moment, I forget, he goes by, he scores. Accountability. It was my job. The buck stops with me. It was my job. Not, oh, well, there was lots of other things going on. Midfield weren't doing this, this one. Do you understand the difference? You want to have people, if you want a team that is a real team, people say, you know what, I might fail, but I'm up for you holding me accountable. So if I say, I'm going to put up a Facebook page for our group, and I say, and I'm going to be accountable. And what that really means is, if I don't do it, if I fail to do it, I'm opening myself up to say, have a go at me. Don't accept excuses. Can you see how that makes a difference? If you're in a team where people say, you know what, I want to be held accountable for doing this bit of the work. And so many other teams, and I don't want this group to be like other teams, so many other teams in the past, there were always reasons why things weren't done. Do you know what I mean by that? There was always something. And the odd thing was, the teams would say, it was always the same person in the team that had a reason why they didn't do it. So I want you to learn to say, I want you to be the sort of people that said, oh, I'm going to do this teamwork, and there's going to be stuff I want to be accountable for. So if you get that, if you get trust, if you can handle conflict, if you get commitment to see it through, and then you have accountabilities, only then do you see real results. Then you start to see teams that actually produce the goods. Now I would put it to the people that have, the people who've told me about their team's experience. So this is where I'm losing it. Duke Edinburgh lady, I forgot your name. So Kerry. Yeah, Kerry. Out of those things that we've written down, how many of those things did your team actually do? Was there? Yeah. Yeah. I expect. Basketball, baby. Same. Same. Can you see it? Can you see? That's not. There's a random sample. I asked for people who've been in the team again and again. They're the ones who've been in the team. And then I put forward a principle, and they all said yes, yes, yes. So it's up to you guys. It's up to you guys. You can choose to learn how to do that stuff, or you can say, you know what? I haven't come to uni for that sort of stuff. I've come from an easy life. And that's your call. That's not mine. But did you notice the correlation? Or was it just me? Did everyone notice the correlation? Now those that do maths and statistics will notice that's pretty high correlation. 5 factors across the people, all agree. So that's what I want us to do. That's what I want us to learn in teamwork. And I want us to, and I have a handout, which I'll give out. Let's pass around. And it's like this. When it goes wrong, at whichever of those stages, it's a bit like a circle of never-ending stuff. If in your team there is lack of trust, and don't worry, I've got this nose, I've got this one down here, so just put it back. If there is lack of trust, it leads to not having conflict. Notice what it leads to not having conflict. No one wants to open the lid. And if there's not conflict, and people know, we haven't really debated this, so these are really bad ideas, so there's no real commitment to carrying them through. And if there's no real commitment, if in your heart, you know, you're not really committed to this team, well, the last thing you want to be is accountable. Can you see how, as a circle, it just drives itself round and round? And yet the opposite is also true. That if we work towards getting trust, if we learn how to handle in a positive way conflict, if we encourage one another to be committed, if we really embrace accountability, then you will get the results. And you will have experienced something in your team that you won't get by just getting a group of people who happen to be really, really bright, and you just bang your heads together, and you've got grades enough to get a first. Can you understand the two different patterns? There's two different roads walking down. And it's like this. I'm asking you to walk, as one person said, the road less travelled. Anyone know that expression? There's a Scott Peck. Scott Peck, he said, I went to the woods, and in the woods there was a fork in the road. And then he says, I chose the one less travelled. And the concept of that is, yes, I'm asking you to do what the 95% of the people out there will not do, which is actually say, you know, I'm going to work for something bigger than just my grades. I'm really going to embrace what this is all about. And so to that end, in some way, it doesn't matter who's in your group. Because if you can learn to do trust, if you can learn to handle conflict, if you can learn to keep commitments, if you can learn accountability, you will have learned more than the 95% will ever learn. So I'd like you to, I've got those written down. Let's just around. Around here. There should be enough, but I may not have divided them well. So, you've got those slides, and I'd encourage, for those of you that actually like to have life improve and life change, some of you will, some of you won't, but for those that do, a little suggestion. The best things you learn in the week, and it doesn't matter if it's from this course, or module, or other modules, I don't really care, but the best things that stick out to you in your week, I suggest you put them on the wall for that week. And if something else comes along, you put that on the wall. But do you understand, there's a focus problem. You've got lots of stuff going on in your lives, and I'd like you to think that you could focus. Right, next bit. For a team to work, even if we were doing all the stuff that I'm talking about there, which is being a team player, it would still fail. And the reason it would fail, although we've learned a lot about ourselves, is because all teams need scaffolding. You're building something, and there is some stuff that is not the end product, but is the stuff that you need to build the end product. Do you understand what I mean by that? And often, for students, I'm not picking on anyone because I'm just older, so I've made more mistakes. One of the mistakes I've made time and time again was not putting scaffolding. The scaffolding of your team is the organisation you put around it. The scaffolding of your team is the organisation you put around it. Now that means things like, boring things like writing down a lot of stuff, like whose roles or whose responsibilities, like when we're going to meet, like minutes. Can you imagine students doing that? As a team, actually writing down what it was they discussed, so that they didn't just walk out the door and thought, oh, I wonder what that was about. I think it was good, but I have no idea. And that is the writing of minutes, and we'll do some of this again in the seminars, but we need to understand the organisation of a team, as well as the team players, is necessary for success. And so for me and my personality style, it's boring, I don't want to do it. But for successful people, they always do it. And so I would encourage you that you want to be a team that is organised. So you want to be a team that writes things down, or sorry, modern world, or at least has an app on the iPhone that records things. Yeah, I'm trying to be a little bit more modern. But do you understand that actually, so that when you, on your own, go back to your room and you think, what was it I said I would do? I have no idea. Do you understand the power of that? And can you imagine, just for a moment, can you imagine how few students do that? It's like, you can't even imagine. I can't imagine. If I wander around undergraduates, groups of undergraduates on any program, and I wander around, I just don't see it. It doesn't happen. So all the people have to rely on memory of what they said. That is supposedly a diamond in a coal mine. Now obviously I have no idea if it really is a diamond in a coal mine, but that's the nearest I could find to one. And actually out there, not in this university, but further out there, there are people looking for diamonds. They're looking for diamonds in their organisations, they're looking for diamonds in their start-up teams. And the funny thing is, can anyone, we probably haven't done geology, how are diamonds made? Remember how, yeah.
Under pressure.
Under loads of pressure. Something valuable, so what's your name?
Kit.
Kit.
Yeah.
Oh, might stand a chance. Kit, small, remember it. Not promising Kit, but something small. And one of the questions you want to ask yourself is, do you want to be a diamond? In terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of where you're going to go through life, do you want to be a diamond? As is someone that is so valuable people are forming a queue to find you. And so there's a lot of stuff in this course and in this module which may seem so difficult and challenging, may not be. Part of that is the pressure to become the sort of people that other people are looking for in their startups and in their companies. Do you understand? And just another comment. There was and I really appreciate, can I say, although I only gave out a few prizes, all the people that did the exercise in the seminar, I thought this was brilliant, brilliant stuff. And just a question that came out a couple of times is, do you see yourself as a leader or a follower? Variations on that. That question came out a lot of the time. And what I want you to know is that team leaders, and can I just say true team leaders, are as rare as rocking horse droppings on the M1. Those who don't know, a rocking horse is a wooden horse, so it doesn't do any droppings. If it did, the M1 with all the traffic would be the last place you'd find them. And the reason for this is so often that team leaders are referred to people that are actually team managers, or team supervisors, or team coordinators. There is so little leadership in most teams that you don't find many team leaders. And I would love it. I would love it if a lot of people in this room became proper team leaders. But here's the deal. I haven't found a team leader yet who didn't know first and foremost how to be a team player. See, if you want to be the team leader, say I'm going to be the team leader, and this, sorry, no offence, but there's more here. This wonderful set of people was my team. And I had you know what? I am a team leader. And what I really meant was, I'm going to write on my CV, I was the team leader. They were just team members. But do you understand that motivation that people have for that? And yet, if I don't know what it is to be a team player, what's your name? Nick. Yeah. But how can I help Nick be a team player? How can I reward him? How can I even show him what he should be doing or being on the team if I don't know what it's like to be on the team? All I can do is sort of crack the whip, or I can give out chocolates, but I can't model what I want from my team. Can you understand that as a difference? And yet there's so little leadership because so few people want to pay the cost. And I hope some of you today will be the sort of people that say, I don't mind having a tough time in the team, and that's a costly thing, if, as a result, I really get a feel of what it's like to be a team player, so that in the future I can be a team leader. I hope you will. Now, summary. For those of you who've waffled over, this is what it is important to know how to recognise and rate a team. Because if you can't rate a team, you can't improve it, you can't manage it, and you can't lead it. It's important to know what a team is looking for. And above all, a team is looking for team players. I'll change the first question around. Has anyone ever been in a team where it's just been awful? Has anyone ever been in when you're in a team and you know at least one or two people are not in that team, or they're backbiters, or they're just, it's awful. Is that fair, Kit? Yeah, and the fact is that what a team is looking for is team players. And I long for the fact that you say, you know what, whatever else I learn in this module, I'm going to learn how to be a team player. Okay, and the fact is, in the same way, a team leader isn't a badge that you wear. A team player is not a badge you wear. A team player is a set of attitudes and behaviours that you say, you know what, I want some of that. Because when you've been in a team with true team players, you want to be with them again and again and again because of who they are and how they behave. Oh, forgive me there. Why a team needs to be organised. Because without organisation it does fall apart. And why real team players are what every venture needs. The number of solo entrepreneurs, now fortunately we have a serious entrepreneur. How many entrepreneurs that have gone to venture capital, yeah, gone to the angel things, how many people, percentage-wise, how many of them have gone on their own and not as a team? Would you guess?
Less than 1%.
Less than 1%. So here's the deal. It's hard enough. It's hard enough for your startups to want to go and get all this money, and I hope some of you really do, and I think some of you can. That's already hard enough, and the odds are stacked against you. If you want to do it and say, you know what, actually, at the moment there's probably something in the order of, I know in America it's something like 2 million new companies start a year, and out of those, in the end, 35 get big money in. I'm not saying the others fail, but they get big money in. That's a big percentage, yeah? So if you want to be in that percentage, that's fine. But if you then say, oh no, that's too easy for me, 2 million going to 35, that's too easy. I'll make it harder. I don't want to learn to be a team player. That's what we're talking about. Right. Any questions? I know it's nearly time to go. So anyone got a question? No one's brave enough to have a question. Question about how we move from where we are to where we're going to? Anyway, so if there's no questions, I look forward to seeing you guys at the seminar, and then we'll be putting some exercises through this. Are there any other notices you want to give?
Oh yes, folks, the seminar straight after lunch has moved, and it's now in chemistry. So if you haven't checked your timetable, please make sure that you do. It's a big lecture theatre. You go into the chemistry lane, round the corner, and it's on your right, just there. That way. Chemistry large lecture inside. Did the sign-in sheet make it all the way to